Well, this is going to be really a year of transition. We graduated 26 seniors from the 2008 football season, and so this year we're going to have a lot of guys on this team in critical positions that are really going to be getting their first taste of college football playing experience.
And leadership, you lost 26 players like you talked about. You've named two captains. You want to mention who those are?
Well, Kyle Tuning, who's the defensive player of the year, is linebacker for us. All-American potential type of player, outstanding football player. He's a linebacker that I think a coach really loves to be able to coach. I mean, he's sideline to sideline player, plays with great intensity, outstanding leadership qualities, and so we're obviously looking forward for a great season from Kyle. Our other captain is Adam Bean, who's from here in Knoxville, Tennessee. He's been an offensive lineman for most of his career. I think it's a guy that shows outstanding leadership, not only on the field but off the field as well. He's a hard worker. What's impressed with me with Adam when he came in as a freshman was probably weighed about 360 pounds, and he's done a great job of getting his weight down to about 280 pounds. He was relentless in the weight room and doing a great job of developing himself into an outstanding football player.
Defensively, you returned 4 of your 5 top tacklers in Kyle Tuning, Bud Christie, Tanner Kaler, and Joel Byers. Tell us a little bit about what they bring to the defensive squad.
Well, obviously it's that experience. I mean, we did lose a lot from our defensive line. We graduated 5 senior defensive linemen, but still we're bringing back 4 of the 5 top tacklers. All 4 have been very productive. Joel Byers has really been our very steady person at the left defensive end position. A very solid run defender, and it does an outstanding job of getting pressure on the quarterback. Tanner Kaler, who was a freshman this past season, became a starter after about the 3rd or 4th game of the year, has gotten better every single football game. Extremely productive, just like Kyle Tuning. And Bud Christie, who I think is going to be one of the best safeties in the conference. He's going to be a junior this upcoming season, and he's that safety that I think a lot of coaches really like to have. Being in the middle of their secondary.
Let's move to the offensive side of the ball. Talk a little bit about your new offensive coordinator and what he may bring different to the table.
Well, Ryan Hansen, who was our offensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons, left the staff in January. And Jim Elliott's been our offensive line coach for the past 4 seasons. Jim has done an outstanding job with our offensive line for the past 4 years, and especially being able to develop our offensive line, where he's getting some young guys who are trying to lift and get big and strong, but come their sophomore, junior seasons, they've turned into pretty good college football players. And so I believe the correct move for us was to hire Jim as our offensive coordinator. He knows our system. He's been part of the program for 4 years. Knows the ins and outs of our offense. And at the same time, I believe he's going to add a little bit of his football knowledge to expand on our offense. And so even though we changed coordinators, our offense is still going to be the same.
Now, part of that offensive line is part of your 26 seniors that graduated. Brian Wendell, I believe, is one of your only returning offensive linemen. Do you foresee any other?
Well, as well as Adam Bean. Adam, he played quite a bit at the offensive line last year as well. Like our defensive line, our offensive line took big hits due to graduation. We graduated 7 seniors, and that was the reason why we had a lot of success. Why we were one of the top rushing teams in the USA South last season. So it's really going to be a big transition, not only on our defensive line but our offensive line, being able to have young guys. You probably haven't had very much experience, but again, what I just mentioned, Jim Elliott's done a very nice job developing our young offensive linemen, and now this is their opportunities to go ahead and be very productive football players.
A great segue there. You have one of the league's top rushers in Rommel Hightower, but you sort of have a 3-headed monster with Nick Moore and Darrell Tate, who have some great numbers coming back as well. Tell us about the strength of the backfield.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why I believe that even though we lost a lot from our offensive line and our tight ends, remember we graduated all 3 of our tight ends, still our playmakers are still with us. All right, and it starts off with our really our three running backs: Rommel Hightower, Daryl Tate, and Nick Moore. All three have played significant roles for our success over the past several years. Rommel Hightower going into his senior season, he's the probably owns most of our rushing records. After 3 years, he's our all-time leading rusher. You know, scoring touchdowns, running the football. You know, he's got an opportunity to really have an outstanding season this year. Nick Moore, who is a little bit of a contrast of what Rommel. While Rommel's more of a power, a physical type of running back, Nick Moore is smaller, but he's quick and elusive. And so when we put Nick in there, I mean, like bringing in a different pitcher, you know, who has a different pitching style. All of a sudden now we make a transition from that physical type of a running back to a little quick slashing running back. And so we've always had very good success. And Nick Moore's got a little, just kind of a tweener between the both of them. A guy that, you know, he's got very good quickness, but at the same time can run with some power and has been very productive as during his freshman and sophomore years at Maryville College.
Let's talk a little bit about your young but experienced quarterbacks in Tim Connor and Derek Hunt.
Well, we're very fortunate to have two very good quarterbacks, and the problem is really, you know, trying to decide which one we're going to go with most in the game. And as I anticipated, as we did last year, you know, both are going to see action in every single football game, and it might be a matter of who's got the hot hand that's going to be probably playing a little bit more. But you know, two good young quarterbacks, different styles of quarterbacks. Where you've got Tim Connor, who's you know, he's a little bit of the gambler, the down the field throwing the deep ball type of quarterback who's very aggressive, you know, throwing the football. And then you've got our quarterback Derek Hunt, who's kind of a thinking man's quarterback. You know, he's very proficient in his reads and his football throwing technique, and does a great job of reading coverages. So we've got a very good combination. And nowadays, when you really look and study not only the professional game but the college game, it seems like the better teams always have two reliable quarterbacks to make their offense successful.
Last but not least, let's talk a little bit about special teams, because you lose a very efficient kicker in Brad Daniel and your punter, Doug Carter.
Yeah, and that's a big concern, you know, because you know, you lose, and you know, on top of that, we lose our long snapper Randy Swafford. So you know, even though you focus in on the kickers, but our long snapper has been our long snapper for the past 3 years is gone as well. So you know, a big transition. We've got a couple young freshmen who got some experience, a little bit of experience last year. That's going to help us out. But it's going to, you know, we've got to do a great job of. I think first of all, when we punt and we'll have either a freshman or sophomore punter. R.J. Sandmeyer, who's probably going to start off the season as our punter. You know, we got to do a good job protecting and covering the field, but you know, I think it's going to be a good opportunity. They're very well coached by T.J. Emery, who's our special teams coach, and so obviously we're going to have to work very hard to make sure our special teams are very solid.
One last follow-up question. I sort of want you to prognosticate. Name one player on offense and defense that you feel that can step up and really contribute to the success of the team.
One of the outstanding players that we'll have on offense is going to be Wesley Idolette at wide receiver. I think he's the big play wide receiver that you know, as a freshman, you know, he was able to do an outstanding job for us. But he's that wide receiver that is a threat to score a touchdown every time he catches the football, whether it's a fade route or a post route or just a quick 3-step slant route. He's got the ability to take it all the way and score a touchdown. And defensively, you know, I think a guy, you know, we've got several good players coming back, but I think a young guy that hasn't had very much playing, but he got some as a sophomore. I like Phil Garrett. Phil's a corner from Bradenton, Florida, who's done a very nice job in reserve roles. Another one, Blake Barnes, who's from LaBelle, Florida, who played some as a defensive tackle, but I think he's really going to be an outstanding defensive lineman for us, playing that 3-technique tackle. Those are two young guys who really haven't played all that much, but I really suspect is going to do very well for us.